Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Thank you for joining me again for the live Q&A session here on my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Angela. I am a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and my channel is dedicated to those of you just getting started in this wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through my channel, I share with you tips, tricks, techniques, things that I do every day in my own voiceover business, and then we get together in these weekly chats to talk about a topic or two. We'll see how it goes. If you're not new here, then you know every week we have a new poll, and that poll is TikTok. Yeah. Or social media in general, but TikTok seems to be the fastest growing, I think, for the voiceover community, an audiobook narration, audiobook promotion. I've seen more traction there than I have with any other platform, hence the discussion today. And as you guys know, if you've watched me more than once, you know that I'm always pushing you to get on there, because I have seen a number of audiobook narrators, just their careers just take off by doing just simple little recordings on TikTok. And then it slowly starts to snowball and you gain more followers, and then, you know, your reach spreads out into the interwebs, and, you know, I know, I can hear you guys going, yeah, but I don't want to show my face. My studio looks like garbage. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Well, you know what? Neither did I. Neither did I. It wasn't until I was pushed several times by my friend and former coach, Anthony Pica, to get onto YouTube. And I did. How long ago was that? 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, I started this channel. I didn't want to either. But what he told me made sense. I thought, there's already dozens of other voice artists and audiobook narrators on YouTube. What can I bring that's of value? And he said, perspective. You have a different perspective. You have a personality. You have a perspective about what you're doing, and your particular journey from where you started to where you want to go is, you know, different than most people's. And who knows who you could help along the way. And I said, you know what? That's a great idea. My point is that it's a little scary, especially if you're an introvert. Like myself, I'm a card-carrying introvert. But once you get over talking to yourself, which you do anyway as a voice artist and audiobook narrator, and just block out the thought that other people are going to be watching you, which is, I think, the hardest part. And then once you start to get into the habit of creating the content and you start to build a community, then you'll want to make more content. You'll see that you're helping people. You'll start to see those comments. This is so interesting. I wanted to do this myself. How do I get started? Right? And then you'll start to, you know, your reach will spread out further and further, and you'll start to make content or connections with other audiobook narrators, and then in turn, more authors and businesses, and it just starts to snowball. So, all right. I get your point, Angela, but why? I mean, apart from the obvious, I've made a presentation for you. But first, let's see what you guys are saying in the comments, or in the poll, I should say. So we have about 34 votes right now. And of course, the question is, do you create TikTok content for narration or audiobook to promote your career as an audiobook narrator, or to promote the audiobooks that you are currently producing? 15% of you said yes, regularly. If you are, share what kind of feedback, what kind of traction, what is your experience so far with TikTok. 14% of you said sometimes I try, which is good, but we need to do more than try. And you know this. And today we're going to push you. 51% of you said no, but I know about it. So it's you that I'm talking to today. You in that 50%. 20% of you said had no clue. So good. I'm hoping that we can enlighten you a little bit today. All right. So let's get over to the presentation. And this is based on what I have seen on TikTok. Book talk. If you didn't know, there are several different subsections or subgroups in TikTok. You might have heard it before, where you might hear there's audiobook talk, book talk, author talk, there's, construction talk, there's bike talk, there's, every kind of niche or culture or interest has its own section of TikTok. So there is an audiobook talk, there is a book talk, there is an author talk. So those are the ones that we want to target. And book talk itself has reignited interests in audiobooks, because even books that were written a while back, and I know that We Were Liars, I think, was just a show on Netflix or something. But my point is that audiobooks are still gaining in popularity. They're becoming the preferred way to, take in books, to read books, right? Whether or not that's reading a book to you is a whole other topic, but we're ingesting books in one form is audiobooks, right? Okay. As we've talked about before, TikTok is a less polished version of Instagram. It's a come as you are platform. You don't have to be, you don't have to have the professional editing. You don't have to have all of your makeup and hair done. Your pictures don't need to be photoshopped and just perfect just so. Instagram. TikTok favors the unpolished, real, like gritty, hardcore, come as you are, like relatable content. So, and especially for audiobooks, I have seen more audiobook narrators sharing content or information on TikTok than I have Instagram. Maybe I'm just in the wrong places in Instagram. I don't know. But that's just what my experience is with TikTok. The narrator voiceover trend. You get to showcase your ability to narrate a book, to emote, to develop characters. And it doesn't have to be long sections. It can be short little 15-second little teasers. And what I would suggest is, as soon as you get an audiobook to produce, discuss with the rights holder what your intentions are. And your intentions are to create little clips of you recording this audiobook to generate buzz, especially if the book is royalty share, right? You want to generate buzz about the audiobook being produced, coming out, make it known that this book is becoming available soon. And you're also recording behind the scenes content. People love that behind the scenes content. They like to see how things are made. It's interesting. It's interesting to interact with someone and then hear the finished product later, or hear it as it's being produced. It's really, really cool. I think we lose sight of that and how cool our jobs are as audiobook narrators, right? The ASMR aspect. We forget that too. People enjoy the ASMR thing, right? Sometimes some particular voices have triggers for people, and it's soothing, it's calming, it's relaxing. It's another reason why people enjoy audiobooks. It's like someone talking to you, someone telling you a story. People enjoy that, right? And to hear it when it comes up on their feed as they're scrolling through, people like that. Hang on while I turn my air conditioner on because it's hotter than Hades in here. Okay. And viewers gravitate toward an intimate storytelling tone. So I would even stick with more fiction reads that well, you could do either, but I think people enjoy the fiction reads more than the nonfiction reads. However, I don't think you should dismiss nonfiction for narrating. I think it works for either side. Engagement over polish. Raw, emotive readings outperform studio perfect content. People want to see you flub. They want to see you make mistakes. They want to see the decision-making process in the tones and in your retakes. They want to see that stuff. It's interesting. And then also your TikTok, when you record a video, think if you're in your studio and you have a webcam and you have a recording software like StreamYard, which is what I use, or you could use OBS, which is free to use, and then just record segments of video and then take little snippets from that, and you could post that on all of the platforms if you wanted to, not just TikTok. I mean, it's a broader reach, right? Why not? Post it on Instagram, post it on YouTube Shorts, Reels, post it on everywhere. And then also use it for demos too. Indie creators often call out narrators featured in clips. Hello, organic promotion, of course. So if you let your author know when you're going live or when you're posting this content, they can then duet it, they can repost it, they can shove it out further into the interwebs. The potential reach for each clip, if it's done correctly, could be humongous and just absolutely skyrocket your career just by creating a little bit of content. I don't know if you know these names, but I do on TikTok. They're growing fandoms. And what do publishers want? They want narrators with a big fandom because that means more sales, right? If they come with a built-in fandom. And don't tell yourself, well, nobody knows who the heck I am. Why in the heck? They all started somewhere. They all started at 0 followers, just like you, just like me, just like everyone else. But if you're committed to at least trying it and posting something maybe once or twice a week, and remember, you can like record a 30-minute video of you recording this book and then take snippets of that. If you don't want to go live, take snippets of that and then schedule those posts, once a day, a couple times a week, like I said. Right? It's not as time consuming as you would think it is. The voice excerpts, like we mentioned, behind the scenes, even warm-ups of you getting ready to record this audiobook. And you don't necessarily even need to show your face. That's another question I get. You could just have a shot of, maybe not the manuscript. That probably I wouldn't do the manuscript. But you could have a shot of maybe a static image. You could have a static image of your studio or of a nice picture of you, something like that, and then your audio behind it if you really don't want to show your face. But I recommend that you do. It creates more of a connection with the watcher to see your face, right? All right. Now, what sections do I use? Obviously, sections that are interesting, right? Drama, impact, something going on with the scene that's interesting, an emotional or a dramatic hook. And then your captions could, I hate to say clickbait, but it really does work, right? If you leave them sort of wondering, well, what is this about? That's interesting. When your character learns the truth or what they didn't hear is, stuff like that. Or you could just say, hey, I'm going live. This is the name of the book. And you can have a picture of perhaps the cover image, right? Everybody get excited. This book's coming out, kind of a thing. All right, so ultimately, TikTok is a demo reel on steroids. And then again, you could post that same snippet, not just on TikTok, but YouTube Shorts. You could even compile them and then make it a larger video of like behind the scenes shorts compiled into one video and post that on YouTube, right? Short and emotional equals viral VO clips. I'm a voice actor, I swear I could speak. Your voiceover plus TikTok equals new audiences and clients. Be real, be recognizable, be consistent. And that is really the major point that I wanted to make to you. Be real, especially on TikTok. Be real. Just be yourself. Don't worry about what your hair looks like or what your makeup looks like. You could be in PJs and have the messy bun. People are interested in what you're saying. What are you guys talking about in the chat? Okay. Let's go back to my face and get rid of this. Probably should have took that off a while ago before the presentation. I hope you guys saw anything. We got a lot of comments. Let's go to the comments. All right. Who was first in this morning? Abe. Abe, you were here before I was even here, I think. Good morning from Nashville. May your mics be clear, your neighbors be quiet, and your voice in fine fettle. We're not doing too bad this morning, except for the air conditioner noise. I apologize, but it is probably 180 outside now. Paul says, howdy, howdy, howdy. We got tacos and donuts. Breakfast of champions. Abe says, for anybody who may know, is a whisper room a vocal booth better than a treated room? I would say it's a faster, more surefire way of having a recording-worthy space right out of the box. No pun intended. Also, depending on which one you choose, right? You got double-walled, triple-walled. You got different sizes and shapes of these booths. But you could have a room that is treated so well that it could probably match, the sound quality that you would get in a whisper room or a Studio Bricks or a vocal booth. But it would take more effort and time but ultimately, I think, long story short, you could probably treat your room more cost effectively than buying a whisper room Studio Bricks booth. But it's just up to you. And some people don't have the room for a booth. I don't. I would have preferred to have a Studio Bricks VO Edition booth in my house. I just don't have the room for one. So I had this weird little office room in my house, so I just converted that. So it's, it's going to come down to more factors, I think. But ultimately, I think it's more cost effective to just treat a room. But you could probably get the same sound. Big Daddy Forever, good morning. Good morning from Phoenix, fellow Arizonian. Yep, that it was a good question. Thanks for asking, Abe. David says, hello from Hamilton, Ontario. Hello to you. Big Daddy asks, can creating an audio drama help with... Yes. Yes. Audio dramas are becoming more and more interesting, and I see more and more requests for dual and duet narration and full cast audiobooks, because it's like, it's more dynamic. It's more, it's almost like for the full production books, those are what I listen to. When I listen to audiobooks, I listen to the dramatized versions, with full, the full music score, the sound effects, the, full cast. I love that. It's like a movie in your mind as you're listening. I love those. And I know a lot of other people do, because graphic audio is just cranking them out. Right? So if you have credits for a full audio, yes. Really, any work that you're doing is going to benefit you for future VO work for sure. Caesar's here. Hello, Caesar. Oh, hi. I used to make some really creative TikToks, but then the creative well dried up. I doubt that. I think you just got busy. You're much busier than most people. We'll pick up once I have my new content calendar set up. Also have planned collabs with other narrators. That's awesome. That is something else to think about. If you have a peer group, as I'm always pushing you guys to get into those groups for more reasons than one, into those peer groups, you could start to network and meet and, become friends with other audiobook narrators. And then you could start to collab on content for TikTok, Instagram, wherever. Do it. Abe says, Big Daddy, it can't hurt. It shows acting ability and can demonstrate the quality of your audio. Absolutely. Any work that you do could be used for promotional purposes later. Of course. Caesar says, I did get a lot of attention and direct inquiries when I was active on social media, so I really am excited to get back on. Social media is often how I connect with other authors and producers. That said, hello, everyone. I'm about to finish a duet with Molly Breyer soon. We'll have ALCs to distribute. That word messes me up every time in audiobooks because I want to say distribute. Distribute by end of week. Also have a new microphone. Of course you do. Next week, new interface. Good time to be alive. Caesar's got that gas gear acquisition syndrome. Abe says, Caesar, ever thought about doing quick equipment review vids for VR? That's a great content idea for you, Caesar, specifically. Ken says, morning from Showery, Alberta. TikTok, yeah, I have a profile now, but nothing created yet. Watching with interest to see what y'all are going to suggest. If you have just created your profile on TikTok, I'm going to warn you, as you start scrolling through content, keep in mind that the TikTok algorithm has no idea what you like yet. So it's going to throw a bunch of weird stuff at you. I'm going to tell you that now. But just remember, the more time you spend on something specific, you're basically curating your algorithm from the start. So the more time that you spend on a specific video, if you interact with it at all, it's going to show you more of that content. So if you want to just cut through the noise from the start, go to the little eyeglass icon, the search icon, and start searching for audiobook narrators, authors, book talk, audiobook talk, things like that, and start curating your content or your algorithm from that perspective. And that will cut down all of the other weirdness that might be thrown your way. Unless you like the weirdness, that's fine. You do what you want to do. It's your TikTok. But just remember, you need to curate your algorithm. Abe says, I figured you probably have enough gear to make more than a few. Oh, yeah. Caesar's got the gear. Jules says, good day, all. Good morning, Jules. Hope everyone is having a good day. It's hot and humid down in sunny Florida. It is, in fact, here in Arizona, not 180 yet. It is 96 degrees at 9:30 in the morning. But it's a dry heat. How many times I've heard that? Caesar says to Abe, actually, I have. I did put the idea on the shelf after some time, but I may consider going into content creation now that I have better lights and a proper webcam in the studio. A cup of tea says, morning, y'all. Hope the day is going well for you. Abe says, I'd watch them. Caesar, yes, I think that is a great content idea for you. Directed at other voice actors, audiobook narrators, to give them some idea. Think Booth Junkie, but in your own way, with your perspective, your personality. I think it would do well. And then your voice. God. Anne says, I can't decide whether I want to know the trends or if that will just make me feel more intimidated to post stuff. I'm here in the spirit of education and opportunity, I guess. But that's fine. You're here, and that's what's important. Whether you take anything that is said today and actually implement it, which I'm hoping that you do, trust me, it works. Or you're just here listening and sort of creating, you're brainstorming, you're just starting to plant the seeds of creation for you. That's good too. It's good that you're here, period, listening and hopefully retaining some information, taking some notes, and at some point in the future, implementing. Dwight says, good morning, Entrepreneur Angela. Good morning to you, Entrepreneur Dwight. May your ventures bring you much fortune and your challenges be fun. We got your back as you move forward and always. That's fantastic. Thank you, Dwight. Alicia's here. Hey, Alicia. Kat is here. Hey. Pamela's here. Got the Platinum Group representing this morning. Peak Parable says, I think a potential problem could be trying to, for so many platforms like TikTok, YouTube, etc., you could spread yourself too thin. You could, or if you prefer, you could just focus on one platform. Or if you have a, like I said before, if you took the time, if you took 30 minutes to record a larger video, and then use that to take little snippets from, and if you have a scheduler, a social media scheduler, like, is it Sprout? There's Hootsuite. There's a handful of them. I can never remember the names of them, but there's a handful of like social media scheduling software where you can say, okay, I want this video uploaded to this platform on this day and time. You could do something like that so you don't have to think about it. Or some of the platforms have schedulers within them. Like I just started to schedule content on TikTok. I'm trying that out to see how well it works for me. You could do something like that. So then it's kind of, you set it all up at one time. You take like an hour, record some content, slice it up, and then schedule it to be posted, and you're done. You're done for the rest of the week or the next 2 weeks, however long, right? So you could do it that way too if you wanted to. Or just focus on one particular platform instead of all of them. Rochelle says, good morning all. This first book is a doozy, so I'm waiting until it's done to venture out. Fuzz. Where'd that come from? Natalie says, good morning. I'm not a fan of being on camera, so it would take a lot of courage to get on TikTok. Natalie, same. That's the same thing I told Anthony when he was pushing me, and he pushed me for a while. I said, I don't want to be on camera. He's like, yeah, but you have, he told me all the things and all of the reasons. And I said, well, for women, we have to be prepared. We have to have the hair done. We have to have the makeup on. Whereas you guys, you could just hop on whenever. It's not, you know what I mean? I mean, it takes a little more preparation time for women to be camera ready than it does for men. It just does. And I don't want to take all that time all the time. But then I thought about it and I said, okay, if I take Monday, I have a couple hours of time on Monday. If I could just gussy up, record a couple of videos, and then I have the content for the week or the next 2 weeks, right? So you don't have to it's not like an everyday thing that you have to get prepared and create the content. You could do it all on one day, in one day, and then schedule it out for the next week or two. But getting over that camera, being on I totally understand it. I mean, still, there's 51 people watching me right now. And I'm trying to not let that freak me out. But I understand. Believe me. Katya says, hello. Howdy, everyone. Good morning, Katya. Adam says, I haven't used TikTok yet, but maybe I should. I think you should. I've recently created my social media account and have been using Instagram to post audiobook trailers for a couple of titles I've done so far. And that is another thing. That is another way to get content out on TikTok. If you decide to create or to record yourself narrating a snippet of this book, like we were talking about, taking that half hour of video content you created, taking little 15-second snippets of it, and then taking the audio from it, but then maybe not using your face, right? So you could put a static image in the video instead of your face. And then that image could be the book cover and a little bit of text. This actually, what popped into my head, which is why I kind of looked distant for a second, was Headliner, headliner.app. It's a website that is designed for podcasters to create snippets to push out onto social media. You could also use that same website, and I think you get to like download 10 of those a month for free. I think, don't quote me on that, but just check it out, headliner.app. You could use that software to create book trailers, right? To push those videos out on social media. So you could take the audio snippet, put a static image of the book cover, a little bit of text that says available now on Audible or coming soon on Audible, something like that, and then post that video. It'll, again, 10, 15 seconds, and then post that on your social media platforms. You don't have to show your face. Eventually, I recommend that you do, but you could start with that. Donnie's here, but driving. Yes, I use TikTok. I will also put out that I'm a narrator and looking for authors. Also will record outdoors. Record outdoors? Why would you do that? You mean for... Tell me more. Adam says, it has allowed me to get familiar using AI-generated tools to promote my work. For the book trailers? How do you use AI for that? Tell me more. Dwight says to Abe, I have a custom-built booth and it is awesome. I wish it was about 4 feet longer. Booths are easier to treat than rooms. If you have skills like Secret Squirrel Caesar, a room is awesome. Dwight says, I have a TikTok account and I am stagnant because I am busy, but I do enjoy it. I didn't realize it until the other day. I had a 650 plus followers. Unfortunately, I have a lot of mail order brides following it. Yeah. I mean, any platform you're on, you're going to get people trying you on for some sort of scam or spam, right? But you don't have to interact with them. You know, if they're reaching out to you out of the blue, and, you know, women, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm sure you men have the same or similar situations. You don't have to interact with them. Just delete them and focus on the business part. Focus on why you're there, right? You're going to get that everywhere you are. Gregory is here. Sir Gregory does go live quite a bit on TikTok. I see you. I see you creating content. I go live on TikTok whenever I can from what I call the sound closet. I did have shame that I didn't have a booth, but I learned to get over that. It's where the magic happens, and I'm proud of it. Good for you, Gregory. Every time I see you live, I stop and say hi, watch a bit, hopefully to boost you. And I do that with everybody that I'm friends with. If I'm friends with you on TikTok and I see you creating content and I see you live, whatever it is, I will stop and support you. We should all do that for each other. It should be just a given. Jewel says, TikTok works very well when you can consistently post 3+ videos a day. I've built 12,000 followers that way. It took time, but consistency is key. Yeah, I mean, any social media platform that you're on, I mean, think about, if any of you are not familiar with Gary Vee. Gary Vee will tell you, VEE, look him up. Gary Vee will tell you consistency on any social media platform is key. Consistency. It doesn't have to be professional, doesn't have to be polished. The only thing that matters for social media content is consistency. And TikTok, namely, favors the unpolished rawness of real people doing real things in real situations. So, no brainer. Right? Life Unleashed says, hi everyone, glad I made it. Glad you're here. Jean says, good morning from Oregon. I started posting from the booth clips and the response has been better than I expected. One vid had about 180 likes and then I posted them on YouTube and one got 1,400 views or likes. Was it views or likes? 1,400 views or likes. Jesse says, I've wanted to enter into voice acting since I was a kid. I came across your channel just this past month and set up my equipment. Your advice has helped me better understand how to submit through ACX. Good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that even my older stuff has helped. That was the whole point of this YouTube channel, was to help, and I'm glad that it did. Welcome to the family, Jesse. Sage is here. Hey, Sage. Good afternoon, everyone. I have been MIA from VO for at least a month or two due to a shoulder injury and haven't done any social media content, but I am hoping to get started soon. Well, I'm sorry to hear about the shoulder injury. Shoulder injury. But I'm glad to hear that you're going to get back at it soon. Yeah. Rebecca, I speak words good. Rebecca says, hi, all sorry I'm late. Cinnamon sugar and glazed donuts for everyone. Wow. That's so much sugar, but it's so good. Jules says, smash all the buttons to show some love, Angelinos and Angelinas. Yes, do all the YouTubey things. I appreciate that. And again, if you have experience on TikTok or really any social media platform by posting voiceover or audiobook narrator-related content, share your experience in the chat. Show everyone else that it's safe to do so and that you generally get good responses. I don't get the best responses with my content, and that's fine, but I do know that some people do, and I know that the consistency is eventually going to pay off. And I do also want to note that, especially on TikTok, the more you interact with other people's content, the more your content is pushed and favored. So when you do start interacting, or when you do create a profile on TikTok, let's just say TikTok. When you do create a profile on TikTok and you start to curate your algorithm, the videos of people that you want to connect with interact with that content. Save it, repost it, like it, follow them, comment, do all of those things, and TikTok will reward you by pushing your content out further and to get more views and all the things. So make sure that you're paying it back, basically. Or forward, for that matter. Just word to the wise. Sage 1 says, and I brought Boston cream donuts. And Caesar says, I brought my mouth. Feed me, Seymour, feed me. Press that like button, yes, please. Hit all the buttons, do all the things. I appreciate you. Gary Micheloni says, maybe once its ownership changes, I'll consider using it, but not now. Rebecca says, I'm loving creating content on TikTok. I've been embracing the fun side of it, but I've been planning more informative and behind-the-scenes content. And yes, post your content everywhere. If you're... what Gary's referring to is that TikTok has sort of been like, it's going to be banned, it's going to go away, it's changing hands, it's, you know, we've been going through that sort of, I don't know, baloney for, I don't know, how even long? A year? 6 months? It feels like forever. And so if you're concerned about investing time into creating a bunch of content just to have it go away, what I would do is focus on 2 different platforms like Instagram and TikTok. Share the content across both, although each platform favors exclusive content. I think that's why I don't get as much engagement as I would like, because I don't make exclusive content for either platform. But that's what they prefer. But you won't waste a bunch of time if you're promoting it on Instagram and then on TikTok. So then if TikTok goes away, I mean, you have the same content on both places. And then every once in a while, make something exclusive for either one, right? Or both. That's kind of how I see it. Rebecca says, it is a day with Angela's live if I don't post a type. I mean, I can't speak properly all the way through a singular session. So don't feel bad about typos. It makes you human. It's fine. Ken, it says, it is a boring person who can only spell a word one. Exactly. Creative spelling. Absolutely. Caesar says, oh my God, I missed Abe's question. A recorded room can be better than a whisper room, especially if you're mixing using studio monitors. But it's not that cut and dry. Talk to me for details. A recorded sound can sound livelier in a larger room versus contained in a booth. This can be corrected with EQ, but a home studio or professional studio has more space for sound to travel. Audio drama reminds me of the old-time radio shows. Yes. Yes. If you think about the popularity of podcasts, right? I mean, from years ago, and, audiobooks still growing in popularity. People are just busy. People are just busy they're multitasking. Some have several jobs, so they like to listen to content, right? And that could be either podcasts or audiobooks. And and I even see podcasts doing this too now, where there's, more than one person, there's soundscapes. I mean, I have more, as you know, I edit podcasts on the side, and I have clients that ask me all the time, and it's starting to grow in number. I want like full sound immersion and sound effects. I just don't have time to do all of that, but that's growing in popularity is my point. But I like those audio dramas. I like the fully dramatized audiobooks. Dwight says, see, Abe, I told you that you needed Secret Squirrel Caesar skills. At least I can say that without messing it up. Donnie says, we were talking about this at the last after party, and I mentioned that the mistake people make is that they do not search for authors, which is where you will get your work. Gregory says, speaking of algo, let's feed it with hitting thumbs up. It's like a Scooby snack. Yes. And we just had a super chat. Hold on. Sean. Thank you, Sean. As a result of posting daily last year, people recognized me at basketball games and stores and asked me to post again. So that's something. That helped with imposter syndrome. That's awesome. So you built a little fan base. I've actually had people approach me and ask if I was voiceover Angela on YouTube before. It is the weirdest thing. It is the weirdest thing. But that is so cool. So you're doing something right, Sean. How long daily last year? Was it just like for the whole year? How long was that run where you were posting consistently daily? Inquiring minds want to know. Now I got to find where I left off. Thank you for the super chat, Sean. I appreciate you. Dwight says to Jesse, you came to the right place. Angela and her Platinum group is a resource like no other on the interwebs. Donnie says, yes, slap that like button like it owes you money. Then share and subscribe. Love you, beautiful people. Rebecca says to Donnie, absolutely. Follow authors, publishing houses, and other VOs. Follow them all. Interact with them all. Caesar says, ask her. Yeah. Dwight says, hey, gang, do not forget to hit the like and share. Do all the YouTube-y things. Thank you. Voiceover Van Deen says, afternoon, peeps. Currently having a bit of a heat wave in the UK, so I abandoned the studio at 34 degrees and am currently sitting in the garden with a nice chilled beer. That sounds like the way to go. Yes. Dwight says, I have been doing a great deal of audio editing, and that has taken up most of my time and has gotten in the way of doing my social media feeds. I have just to get to it. No excuses. Yes, I understand. As a person who does a lot of editing myself, I understand that. But if you have an hour that you can set aside to record yourself recording an audiobook, and then again taking snippets of that and then using that to post for the entire month, even if you just take 10, 15 seconds at a time and you're posting it. Think of how much content you can create by just taking an hour out of one day a week. right? So I'm challenging all of you watching right now. There's 52 people here right now. I'm challenging all of you to do that. At the very least, look at your schedule and find a day sometime this week where you can dedicate an hour, 1 hour out of the week, where you can record yourself 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then mark some places or note some timestamps, however you want to do it, where you can snip out little bits of content. And most of these platforms have video editing software, right? What are all the softwares, all the free ones? I mean, again, you could take headliner.app. I think we did a video not too long ago on video software. There's tons of them where you could, like, for free. CapCut, right? What are they? Those of you that use the video, I have Premiere Pro, so I use that to edit all my video. Or right here in StreamYard, it has an editor where I can, like, take my content, take pieces of it, and send it out wherever, which is nice because it just saves a whole lot of, trouble later. But I challenge you all to do that this week. We get more super chats? Hold on. What is going on here, Sean? Thank you for the super chats. Every morning 6 a.m. for a year? Really? And then people are starting to recognize you? That's awesome. There you go. Take it from Sean. Sean says daily at 6 a.m. on Facebook. 366 days. Wow. Did you use a scheduler for that? I'd imagine you did. That's the easiest way to do it. Now, where did I leave off? Oh, here we go. Donnie says, we have to market ourselves. Nobody is going to do it for you. Exactly. It's work, but the payoff could make or break your career. Potentially not even break your career, but just could skyrocket. You could be the thing that sends you into the For You pages or the curated pages of someone else that's looking for your content, who's looking for your voice for their book. Marketing is not easy, as we've said many times before. It takes a little bit of work. But what we're talking about today is the fastest way to get the most eyeballs and ears on you and what you do. It's the best return on investment. Social media, posting little video snippets of you doing what you do best on social media. Pick your platform. Doesn't even have to be TikTok. But consistency is key. So keep that in mind. I know I feel like I'm just a record repeating itself. Dwight says, Angela, you are a rock star. You have 38.6 thousand subscribers. I never noticed that before. Wow, another reason to sing your praise. Stop it. Thank you. Caesar says, I don't know, Angela. I have a regimen before going on camera. Exfoliate, trim facial hair, blow dry, comb, wax hair. I don't apply makeup, but I do apply a mattifier on my T-zone to remove shine. Okay, so men do a little prep before they get onto the camera. Okay. Masonry Construction says outdoor lighting is better than indoors. True, but not so much for audio quality, if that's what we're trying to promote, which is why I went, why outdoors? I was thinking audio quality. Donnie says, sorry, I do my introductions, etc. outdoors and record my books. Okay, that makes sense. Rebecca says, I've heard so many times that going live on TikTok is a great way to engage, get more followers. I'm working with one of my narrators on a few chapters I can read live. Good. The only thing to keep in mind when you go live, and this really goes for any platform, make sure you understand what is allowed and what is not allowed. anything that could be anywhere close to offensive, you want to stay away from. Because if you just have that one person that pops up on your page and here's one thing that they find offensive, they could report your channel or report your live stream. And that could get you not banned, but you would be put sort of in timeout for a couple of days. And if you do say something that is not allowed on the platform at all, that could get your page blocked. So just choose your sections that you're going to narrate carefully before you go live. Adam says, on the book trailers, you can use ChatGPT to create AI-generated instructions, camera visuals, etc. Then you can feed that into an AI image generator and set those images into motion. Interesting. Just be sure that if you are using AI generation tools for your content, that you are making it clear that you are a human promoting a human page. You're not, doing those faceless completely AI generated channel, or be confused as one. Because as we talked about before, YouTube is starting to cut or to demonetize those channels. And so if that starts to go forward and pieces of that policy are adopted by other platforms, then your channel could inadvertently be blocked, banned, whatever. Just make sure that you're making it clear that you are a human promoting human services, if that makes sense. Use the AI generation stuff sparingly, I think is what I'm trying to say. Or if you do and you have great success, then, egg on my face. But that's just my perspective. And again, mine isn't the only one out there. So I'm only throwing seeds at you. What you do and how you plant those is up to you. Adam says you can then edit them together in Premiere Pro and add music. Okay. Trudy says, hi, Angela. Thanks for this forum. Can someone recommend a video on how to produce your first TikTok video? Geez, I would just YouTube University. Just punch in how to make TikTok video. Not now. After this live stream, then go do it. Katya says, I considered initially starting with ASMR on TikTok. Honestly, that medium irritates me to the bone. Thinking of doing quick snippets of my speaking voice with cool imagery whizzing by. Do it. Listen to your intuition and do whatever it is that pops into your head, because that could be the thing. That could be the thing that makes you. That makes your career. And it depends on which side of ASMR you're on, I suppose. Because I think I've mentioned before, I like watching mukbang videos with the sound off. I don't like listening to all of the eating noises. The eating noises drive me nuts, but I'm like living vicariously through someone eating a gigantic king crab leg. Right? So everybody's got a different flavor or perspective of how they like their... I don't know. I don't even think that's ASMR. Maybe I'm just completely left field, but listen to your intuition. If your intuition is telling you to do ASMR, then do ASMR videos. Jean says, views, totally blown away for someone who is new to this all. Dwight says, I find that TikTok is pushing my stuff, even though I've been quiet lately. Basically, I interact with a lot of others, and that helps my old stuff get... Yes. Interacting with other people. Watching the entire video. Not just like scrolling, heart something, scroll by. Watch the video. Right? Interacting with the content, other people's content. So watch the entire video, then save it, comment, like it, and then follow them. And if you don't want to follow them, that's fine. But you're doing some sort of an interaction and watching the majority of the video at the very least. That will help to get your content pushed out further. Paul says, hi, Angela et al. Only half watching as I'm signing up to TikTok now. Thanks for the idea. It's why we do this, my friend. Masonry Construction says, Descript will give you short vids from your main one. There you go. Sean says, a scheduler would have been nice. I recorded the night before and posted it when I got up. Well, that works too. Gregory says to Caesar, yeah, man, I've got to bother my style sister Gillette, fluff the face, fro, gargle with Listerine, all the things. Alas, it takes time to look this good. Dantastic Guy says, in my opinion, I will never need work bad enough to download Tickety Talk. And that's fine too. Caesar says, fun thing to do, mukbang video with the audio fed into isotope mouth declick, then enable output click. Yes, that's gross. 16 Voyeur says, Angela, I hate social media. I'm just getting started with all of this, and I've been focusing on learning to edit, etc. I'm a bit overwhelmed. You know, I've said this many times. I have a love-hate relationship with social media. I do. I'm Gen X, right? I'm not in the generation where we kind of grew up with social media. It came after. We grew up with the, pagers and, stuff like that. We didn't have social media growing up. So the need to be present and post every aspect of my life, my daily life on social media was never there. Not to mention introvert, right? I never had the desire to do that. Not to mention, I think ultimately, in a non-business sense and like on a personal level, social media could probably do more damage to a person than good. But ultimately, as a business owner, it's the nature of the beast. You have to be on social media in some way, shape, or form to promote your business. That's where the eyes are. And even if it's not TikTok, if you want to go on to Instagram, if you want to stick with Facebook, if you want to do Twitter, you want to do LinkedIn, you want whatever it is that you want to do, YouTube. But social media is where people are. Not for just entertainment purposes, but for information, to learn, just to be distracted, whatever the reason, right? To be inspired. So you want to be visible. Marketing is visibility. In any which way you slice it up, it's visibility. And social media is the fastest and easiest way to be visible. Right? It's an inevitability. You got to be there. Mouth clicks are the devil. Gen X represent. Sage says, I have to use RX11 mouth declick before any other editing is done. I do too. And you know what? For social media content, I don't stress that much about the audio quality, although I should. Although I have found that when I'm using StreamYard to record these live streams, the audio sounds okay for the most part. But when I'm cutting it up and sending it out places, the audio sounds like super tinny or I don't know. So for that reason, I think I might start going back to OBS to do these perhaps, or recording live directly through YouTube, since this is the only place that I'm live streaming to anymore. Because I don't think the audio quality is coming out the way that it should. So it is definitely something to consider, because if we're voice actors, audiobook narrators, we want to showcase that our audio quality sounds good. And if StreamYard is inadvertently making it sound like I'm talking into a steel can, that's not ideal. So, I don't know. You guys tell me, do I sound okay? I mean, apart from the air conditioner being on, do I sound all right now on live? Because when I cut it up later, it sounds horrible. Thank you for the super chat, Caesar. I have nothing intelligent to say. Please purchase a wheel of cheese. I love you guys. You guys are so funny. My hair is so flat today. Flatness. I will go purchase a wheel of cheese, Caesar. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Thank you for all of you who had sent super chats today. I super appreciate that. But it's about that time. I've got some editing and some work to do myself. I hope you found this informative and helpful. if, what was I just going to, my train just derailed. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Okay, so of course these live streams are for you. And I did have a poll about a week or two ago trying to figure out what it is that you guys want to hear more of, what kind of content you would like more of. So please tell me so we can talk about it. So if you have an idea or a question, then please comment those down below. It could be a topic for a future live stream. So digital Comic-Con without buying a ticket. My hair's flat too. Okay, great. Thank you for letting me know that I sound all right. I appreciate that. Yes. So that is it for today. I will be back next Tuesday, same bat time, same bat channel. Let me know how it goes with your TikTok challenge. I want to know. By next week, tell me. Tell me how it went. All right. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.